Welcome back to the Jon Krawczynski Show. Thanks to Jon for giving us his name for this show. Coincidentally, he's also the star of the show. This is our basketball show at talknorth.com. Jon does a great job covering the Timberwolves and the NBA. He also joins with me on the Viking Update podcast. If you'd like to check that out as well, we have a lot of stuff at talknorth.com. You know that by now. Check it all out. And when you find a show you like, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. The Jon Krawczynski Show is coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studio and is presented to you by Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood. Jon, you were on the road with the team. You didn't see wins, but you saw some fascinating stuff. I think we have no choice but to start with Anthony Edwards going bonkers against the Spurs and unveiling a shot I'm not sure I'd seen anybody really master before, and that's the fake three that immediately becomes a three that hits nothing but the bottom of the net. That's such a difficult. I mean, I'm trying to think what it's like in another sport. It would be like the Charles Barkley golf swing, right? Where you start swinging down, you stop, and then you try to hit the ball, and it goes 8 feet. I don't know how Anthony's doing it.
Yeah, it's incredible, and to take that analogy further would be like if then Chuck hit it on the green within 3 feet of the hole. Like it
doesn't happen.
No, it does not happen. The level that Anthony Edwards is reaching as a shot maker, as a creator, is really just off the charts. And I mean, the showdown that he had with Wembanyama in the fourth quarter of that game, I mean, that is what makes you think that the NBA is going to be just fine going through for the next couple of 5-10 years, because when you have players of this skill, of this kind of, just charisma of everything that those two have, and the prospects of those two going at each other for the foreseeable future is just so tantalizing to think about as a fan of this game and of watching and wanting to see high level competition. But watching Ant drag this team back into that game and hit just incredibly difficult shot after incredibly difficult shot, 26 points in that fourth quarter, 39 in the second half. I mean, it was mind-boggling. And we wondered, Jim, about what was the next level for Ant to get to coming into this season. And he is reaching it just as a clutch time player, as a someone who can understand what shots he can get to and what he can make and he can't make. I mean, he's made a remarkable leap, which is saying something because he was already on a pretty lofty perch coming into this season.
Kobe Bryant wasn't my favorite player, but the one thing he had was just the guts to take every big shot for his team, and that's what that felt like. That felt like a Kobe fourth quarter.
Yeah, it did, and I would say that Anthony Edwards has always had the want to in those moments, but I think now, which is getting him closer to that Kobe conversation, is that the want to is marrying with the ability to execute in an entirely different way. So even though some of these shots that he was taking were, incredibly difficult, unbelievable, jump shots, drives, all of those things, when you watch him get to those shots, it's a different process. Like last year and earlier on in his career, it looked like he was going into these situations without a real plan. And when he did something that worked, it was just because of his supreme athletic ability that allowed him to create the separation or elevate over someone and hit a crazy shot. But you can see now in these situations, Anthony Edwards is kind of starting to think about the game a little bit more and anticipate and plan for where he wants to go and how he wants to get there. And that is something that Kobe mastered. Like he could understand exactly, okay, if I get to this spot at 21 feet and hit this turnaround move, it's going in. And, if I'm at this spot, if I see this defense, okay, I've got to get to this left wing three, or I've got to do, and so I think that we are starting to see the process match the results for Anthony. And I think that's just such a huge thing for his development individually and also for the Timberwolves as a team is that they're going into these moments and it's not just Ant saying, give me the ball and then kind of going hell bent for leather and seeing what happens. They are going into this and he is going into these moments with a plan and executing that plan. And that is a more sustainable kind of process than what he had been doing before. It's pretty impressive what he's doing that way.
I'll test my memory. It feels like the beginning of last year, he was going to like the wing turnaround bank shot as kind of his go-to. And first of all, it's a difficult 2-point shot, which is not ideal. Also, it just didn't ever, he made it a few of them, but he never looked really comfortable doing it. He looks really comfortable doing what he's doing now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like that is sort of the maturity in his game is because he had that bank shot and it felt like at sometimes last year, he was like, I'm going to show you I can do this. Like this, look at what I have in my bag now. And in some moments it was either that or it was that step back three that he went to a lot.
Yeah.
And it was, I know I can do this and I want to show you that I can do this and I'm going to flex that way. And sometimes it would work and a lot of times it wouldn't. But now it's more of like, I am going to look at the defense and just do whatever needs to be done to beat this coverage. And so the difference between the two is last year he was doing what he wanted to do and what he thought was going to work and maybe even what he thought was going to look cool doing it. And this year he is doing what he has the answers to the test. And he's doing what the defense allows him to do or what the defense is has a vulnerability to. And that's just an completely different and higher plane of playing the game. And so even when he makes tough shots this season, you look at it and say, I know exactly what he wanted to do there. And that's what, and he makes tough shots because he's a freaking tough shot maker. Like he's unbelievable, but he is understanding which shot is for which moment against which defense. And that's just like that allows him to ascend to a level where it's like, I don't even know that there's a whole lot we can do to stop this guy. And the second part of that then, Jim, is what we saw down the stretch against San Antonio was really interesting in that he was making all of these shots, and then all of a sudden Dante DiVincenzo is getting wide open threes in the corner, right? Then, a guy who was 1 for 8 or whatever is hitting wide open looks to make big shot. And so everyone else is benefiting because there is a helplessness in the defense that says, we got to throw every single thing we have at Edwards. And all of a sudden he's moving the ball and it's finding people in great wide open looks and those are getting knocked down as well. So everyone is benefiting this season, whereas maybe last season it was much more of just an Ant-centric approach that was not always successful.
We're talking here on Tuesday morning. Is the foot injury something you think is going to linger, or are they just being cautious with it?
Yeah, no, it feels like it does feel like it's a lingering thing right now. Everything that everyone that I've talked to about it, really close to the situation, says that this is something that he has been dealing with, but that is not a concern for a long-term adverse effect. I think that he's going to be able, once they get to the All-Star break, maybe he'll play that weekend, but he'll get some extra days off and some rest there. That will help things. And I do think that they are trying to treat it with a few, medications and a few just kind of therapies and things like that they believe that they're pretty close to getting it ready and all set. It's still not fully 100%. It still does bother him. It's a nagging thing. His ability to play through that kind of stuff is pretty well documented. So, I I don't think that it's going to be something that is a big time issue for the rest of the season, but it it's been annoying. Let's say that. That's a good word for it. It's been a very annoying thing that he's had to deal with, and that they've tried to get kind of their hands on. It's been a bit of an infection that he's dealt with, kind of in his foot, toe, and that's kind of made it painful for him to be walking around and moving and stuff like that. And he took the 2 games off, before the road trip, and well, including the Houston game, but some of that was like he had played. There had been a heavy kind of uh, volume of games leading into that. I think they'd played 6 games in 9 or 10 nights, and so when you get that wear and tear on it, I think he needed a little bit of a break. But from what everything I understand is that they're close to kind of getting this thing completely taken care of, and hopefully he'll be healthy for most of the rest of the way here.
Do you think he should have been an all-star starter?
I do, Jim. I do. This is a Timberwolves podcast. I cover him, and I cover the Wolves, and so people can say what they want about that, but I mean, he's just been absolutely one of the 5 best players in the West this season. When you look at the increased responsibility that he has had on this team, and everything that he shoulders on both ends of the court on a nightly basis, and the fact that he's delivering the way that he is, his shooting percentages are all up. His clutch shooting, he's shooting 72% in clutch situations, which is just like otherworldly, like not even close to the rest of the pack. He's making big shots. He's creating things for others. And when you need him, he's playing great defense in big moments. And so I think he definitely deserved it over Steph Curry. He definitely deserved it over Victor Wembanyama, who's been amazing, but like he's been coming off the bench for much of the season in San Antonio to manage his minutes. And so could he come off the bench as the All-Star in the All-Star game too? Yeah, he should. So I thought that I was really surprised that Ant did not get a starting nod. He deserved it. It would have been the first time since 2014 that the Wolves have had a starter in the All-Star game. Kevin Love was it that year. But he should have been in there. Then you kind of look at it and you say, well, if you get Steph Curry in the starting lineup, like, is that a crime against humanity? No, Steph has been amazing this year for the Golden State Warriors, and he's been amazing throughout his whole career. So it's not a crime against humanity that Ant isn't there, but he should be a starter. I truly believe that.
I think he should be a starter. I also think if you're a Timberwolves fan, you should be happy he didn't make it. Maybe because athletes, as we know from the Michael Jordan Last Dance, athletes love having anger and disrespect to fuel them. And if this increases Anthony's desire by 1%, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it sure is. But I was talking with a Timberwolves person yesterday, just texting a little bit after the announcements and stuff, and it was say, hey, boy, the rest of the league is going to be in trouble this week with Ant, kind of coming off of this disappointment. And I just said, how could we tell the difference after San Antonio on Saturday? Is he going to do more than score 55? And
maybe he will.
He maybe will. It's entirely possible. But I think there will be motivation for him. Yes. But I also think that the other thing that I think is, I will be interested to hear how Ant responds to being asked about it, because he hasn't exactly been the most enthusiastic participant in the All-Star weekend, and I don't blame him for it. It's just like, but it's, of all of the players out there, he's certainly on the side of, this is just a fun thing. We're just kind of here hanging out. I don't take this too seriously. And so it is that important to him? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe just the status of getting that starting nod would be really important, and he will use it as real motivation. Or maybe, he'll look at it as, hey, it means, I'm not a starter. That means I have to do even less at All-Star weekend, and that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah. Good stuff on Ant. Let us talk about Baron J, the next new favorite Timberwolf. First, though, Want to thank Aquarius Home Services. We are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
Scott for Aquarius Home Services. The new year's here. While you're promising to hit the gym, drink more water, and limit screen time, your home has its own resolutions, like tackling the broken water heater, leaky faucets, and sketchy wiring. Don't let your year start with repair chaos. Have Aquarius do the fix in 2026 and get $98 off any repair. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
And now here's Jon to tell us more about Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood.
If you're in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than our good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. Whether you're on the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, they've got you covered with two great locations, Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to lexusofwayzata.com or lexusofmaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today.
I want to thank longtime sponsor, really first major sponsor on this podcast, helped us get it off the ground back when we were just trying to figure out how to put this thing together. TSR Injury Law. They've been with us the whole way. If you are injured, you want them by your side. 612 TSR time, 612 TSR time. I guarantee you they'll take good care of you. They've built an incredible business by winning cases and treating people right. They don't want you to need their services, but if you do need an injury lawyer, you want TSR Injury Law. 612 TSR time. All right, Beringer, boy, what I love about him is that you don't look at him as a big man and say, oh, he's going to have to put on some weight or he's going to have to develop some footwork. Right? He looks like such a natural, and he's got the quick leaping ability. He's got the high leaping ability. He has a certain calm to him as a young player. He has awareness. I just feel like this kid's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean the enthusiasm for him internally, and we've been talking about it, Jim, but it's off the charts about what they believe he can eventually become in this league with his combination of athleticism, of gracefulness, of size, and the frame that he has, and just sort of the simple fact that he has only been playing basketball for 4 or 5 years and he's already absorbing things at this level. The intelligence, the aptitude for the game, the feel, like it's all there. And so if there's been a major revelation over the last couple of weeks here now, it is that he deserves to be in the rotation. And when you look at what this team needs to do at the trade deadline, that you can scratch off, backup big. I really believe that. Like, he has shown enough. Now, there are going to be times, Jim, in this season where he's going to get out there and he's going to have 4 fouls in 5 minutes, and he's going to look like he is chasing, and he's going to look a little in over his head. That's going to happen, as a rookie in this league, especially one as young as he is. But already he is showing that he has a real presence at the rim that defense or that opposing offensive players are noticing and respecting and being kind of like flummoxed by. He already is catching passes in traffic and dunking with authority and giving that group of, when he's on the floor, it does not fall off offensively between him and Rudy. Rudy does things differently offensively to help you, but Beringer is a weapon that his teammates are already trusting. And so you're already seeing now Chris Finch make some real adjustments to his rotation to accommodate him. And we've already seen him play Naz Reid at the 3 a lot more, just to try and get Beringer 12 minutes a game or something like that. And I think that's the right play right now with the way that the team's constructed, with their strengths and their weaknesses. But it took a little bit for Chris Finch to really just give Johan Beringer a real chance. And to Beringer's credit, he has answered that call and played incredibly well. And so he's essentially forced Finch's hands to find another way to keep him on, even when Rudy and Nas and Julius are all healthy and playing big minutes. So it's been a really, really encouraging development for the Timberwolves that it looks like Beringer, at least right now, is ready for 10, 15 minutes a night. And if you need him for 20 or 25, I think that you could get by with that right now. That's just how comfortable he looks out there.
Is there anything else we should say about Beringer before we turn to the rest of the bench?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I don't think that there is a way to discount or to underestimate the ability that he brings from a smoothness level on offense. And I think they're only scratching the surface of like how they can use him in that way. You're starting to see more and more that guys are going to throw lobs to him in tight situations and expect him to go up and get it. The ability for Ant or Jaden or anyone to just drive into the lane and then give him a little pass in traffic to handle and then go up with is there as well. I thought that one of the most impressive plays that he made against San Antonio was at the very end of the game. He got the ball, on the baseline, late in the shot clock and went up right against Wembanyama. Now, it was called a block. It was a foul. It actually turned into a huge no call because the Spurs made a 3 on the other end, and that was enough for them to survive. But just seeing that Beringer has that confidence in himself to say, here's Victor Wembanyama right in front of me. I'm just going to go up with it and I'm going to create contact and see what I can do. He made the right play there. And so I just think like for someone as young as he is to already have that sort of feel for the game and that understanding and quick decision making, I just think it's a huge thing that they're going to be able to take advantage of as he gets more time out there the rest of the season and certainly in the years to come.
Yeah, no doubt. How old is he?
He's 19 years old.
I thought he was
Just
19.
turned 19
Good
November.
Lord. That's
It's
ridiculous.
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty stunning. The rest of the bench, when do you expect Shannon back? And who's arrow up and who's arrow down at this point?
Yeah, it's so Shannon, we still don't know exactly when he's going to come back. He has been at the games, walking around, no boot or anything like that. And so I imagine that fairly soon here he will start trying to ramp up workouts and just test that foot and see how it feels. But I think it feels very vague right now, and I'm quite, frankly, I'm a little bit concerned or wondering about, is this going to be a longer term thing through much of this year? Is that foot not getting to a place where he's going to be able to make an impact? I haven't been told that at all. It's just that it's just lingered as long as it has, and that he started with it and then he tried to play and then it flared up and now he's been back on the sideline for a little while. And so I'm just a little bit concerned about how that goes. Jalen Clark's minutes are increasing, and I think that has been really important for the Wolves in two ways. Number one is he's their best perimeter defender besides Jaden McDaniels, and so having him out there is important. But we are starting to see him make better decisions offensively as well. When to drive, when to kind of pump fake on a closeout and get there. He can knock down a 3 here and there, and so he's giving at least a little bit offensively to merit him getting time on the court, so he's not just a one-dimensional player. So that's been nice. Bones Highland has been up and down. He played, he's had some great games, and then he's had some games where just not shooting well at all, and turn the ball over and things like that. So he's been a little more mercurial lately. And Mike Conley is in a rough stretch right now. He's not playing, he's not being incredibly impactful. There's been a couple of games where he's on the floor and the Wolves will be in the on the right side of the plus minus ledger in his minutes. But when he faces teams like San Antonio, even teams like Houston that are bigger, stronger, more athletic, those are tough matchups for him. And so, Chris Finch keeps going to him because he trusts him, but also because I don't think he feels like he has a whole lot of many other options. And that's why I thought it was interesting in Houston, Jim, when down the stretch, he had Dante and Jaden kind of running a lot of the initiating the offense, and when Anthony Edwards was not playing, and you didn't have Mike kind of in that spot because of just the way that it was working out physically. So they definitely have some big questions to answer from a bench standpoint in terms of finding another reliable guard or wing to plug in there, whether it's going to be Shannon, or whether they have to go out and get someone else. I just think that is Beringer has helped them solve the big man off the bench situation, but they still need another guard, even as like sort of Bones Highland insurance. Like when Bones is rolling, it's great. Like just keep him out there and let him run with it. But like if it's a game where he's struggling, they don't have a whole lot of other outs, because if Naz Reid's not scoring 20, their bench scoring can be a little bit precarious in those situations.
Let's get to what deals might be possible and let's rule out the kind of deals that aren't possible too. There's kind of a public service in the internet age. We got to tell you what not to believe. First, though, we want to hear more about Chew Vision Institute.
Chew Vision Institute in Bloomington. Go to chewvision.com to set up your consultation, and you can go in there and they will get you squared away. And it's a very easy, streamlined process where you go in for your consultation. They run you through a very thorough examination. They ask you what you want out of your vision correction, what you're looking for, and they do the things that they can to accommodate that. They bring you all the research, all the background that you need to make the right decision for you. And then when you go through the whole process with Chew Vision, you are going to be just astounded by how easy it is, by how caring and warm they are. And when you get on the other side of things, like I did with LASIK surgery with Dr. Chew and Chew Vision, you're just going to be feeling great about the decision you made, because it's just going to be, just a so much more streamlined, a so much more easier life after LASIK surgery. So go to chewvision.com, set up your consultation, and see the good folks at Chew Vision in Bloomington, and tell them the Jon Krawczynski Show sent you.
Tell us about your favorite liquor store now.
That's right. We got Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove. They've been with us for years now. And what I like most about Princeton's Liquors, obviously, you go in there, they have great bourbon, they have great craft beer, they have an unbelievable selection of anything that you could want in the wine and spirits and beer ilk. And then they also have THC seltzers and gummies if you're looking for that. But the second thing that I love about Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove is that they are a basketball supporting family in this community. Bill Princeton was an intern with the Timberwolves and Lynx. He wore the Crunch costume back around the turn of the century. But they have been embedded in this community for ever and ever. They've been in Maple Grove for decades and decades, running the liquor business. And so if you're looking to support companies that support us, we are always prefer to be in business with local companies that really affect where we live. And Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove is one of them. So stop into Princeton's Liquors, tell them the Jon Krawczynski Show sent you.
Shepherd Goods and Lamb Chops Clothing Line will sponsor the Twitter question we ask at the end of the show. What's going on at sglambchops.com?
Yeah, sglambchops.com. It's the place to go. Put in the promo code JONK20 for anything that you want: casual wear, streetwear, hoodies, t-shirts, pants, sweaters, hats, whatever you're looking for to look good and feel good. They have it with Lamb Chops. You go to a Target Center for a Wolves game, you show up, the most popular thing is going to be Timberwolves merchandise. The second most popular thing on fans' backs is going to be Lamb Chops. Like, everyone is wearing it, and you can go to a game, then you can go out in the North Loop afterward, grab a few drinks at a trendy spot, and feel like you're fitting right in with Lamb Chops. It's super high quality. It's really stylish. It's very, very comfortable. And so go to sglambchops.com, use the promo code JONK20, and you get 20% off anything at Lamb Chops.
And we will ask the Twitter question here in a second. So what are you expecting out of the Wolves as we approach the trade deadline?
Yeah, I do think, Jim, if I had to guess right now, that I would anticipate that they make some kind of move to add to the bench. I don't think it's going to be a Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, that type of major overhaul type of a move. I just think that where they are with how well they've been playing lately, with their second apron status, with everything that they have going on, I just would be very shocked with a major kind of 3-for-1 type of a situation, or where it really changes the face of this team. The guys right now inside the locker room are playing with a ton of confidence, and they believe in each other. Even after losing to Houston and San Antonio, they really do believe that they're in a good spot. The spirit and the energy is high, and so that leads me to believe that they are not going to go out and trade for a starting point guard. They're not going to go out and trade for some other kind of major minutes contributor. I think that they will be looking for a guard or wing to be able to give them some good minutes, some decent shooting, handle the ball some off the bench. And whether that is, someone like a Kobe White or an Ayo Dosunmu from Chicago, that's possible. Is Benedict Mathurin from Indiana. Maybe that's a name that you look at as a kind of a scorer that could come in off the bench and give you something. There's a bunch of guys out there that kind of fit that mold that would not be overly expensive to trade for. And so but it does feel like, with where this team is at, with how they have been playing since Thanksgiving, with where the rest of the West is, that there's a belief that they just need some tweaking rather than a major move to make something happen. But again, if we're on February 5th and the trade deadline comes and goes and they haven't made a deal, I would be surprised with that, Jim. I think there's a good chance of something happening.
Who do you think, obviously not a lot of draft picks to trade, what players do you think they'd be willing to deal, and is Mike Conley one of them?
I think they would be reluctant with Mike Conley, just for what he means to the team now, for what he has meant, and frankly, maybe for some of the options that he would bring back. I'm not sure that would be a major piece, but he's certainly not untouchable or anything like that. But I do think that it's something that they probably would rather not do if they didn't have to. Um, Rob Dillingham is the name that you're going to hear a lot. He just is not playing here at all. There are still people within the organization that absolutely believe in him, that think long term that he can be a good player in this league. But right now, he's not in the rotation. He's not helping and contributing to a team that could really use ball handling and could really use another shot creator. And so it seems like, just me reading things and looking from afar, it just really does seem like maybe it would be best for Rob to go to a team that he can just get real minutes on and just be in the rotation and play. And maybe it's not a winning team right now, but maybe it's just a team that has minutes and has opportunity and isn't really focused on winning every single night, and can allow him to learn on the job. That might be a better situation for him. And he's still in the second year, and he was an 8th overall draft pick. So there will be other teams that look at him and say, hey, it didn't work out there for many reasons. We can utilize him, and we can really, we're intrigued by him. And so I think that would make sense as being kind of one of the main pieces that the Wolves would use to try to facilitate something. And again, I can't remember if it's like $6 million this year. So that's kind of what you would get back, that kind of a player. And maybe you add a Leonard Miller or somebody in there and you can get a little bit more. But, that again shows you that I don't think a $15 million, a $25 million, or $30 million player is coming back, because I don't think they want to trade DiVincenzo. I don't think they want to trade Naz Reid or some of these other guys, in the absence of just an unbelievable opportunity that comes to them. So that would be my my inkling is I would think that if there was something was going to happen, that they would bring bench help in, and that maybe Dillingham would be the guy going out.
2 follow-up questions on this. The first is, uh, when I wonder about Connolly being traded, I know they really don't want to, and I know they still value him and they love having him around, but I just wonder if his salary being added to a deal could help them bring back something more. And my other question is, Tim Connolly's his batting average is like 900 or something here, right? Dillingham is like the only obvious miss so far, and Dillingham still could turn out to be a good player. Is Tim Connolly's his profile? He's been in the league for a while now. Is he the kind of guy who's willing to say, "Okay, it didn't work. I'm going to try something else," or is he going to be stubborn because he moved up to get this guy in the draft and he thinks he can play?
Yeah. So first on Conley, you're right. Like that's a $10 million salary that would really just kind of help facilitate any deals. If you're looking for a player that is making 12, $15 million a year, you put Conley and Dillingham together, something like that. And that really makes it easier. So I think that if they do identify someone who is available that they think is going to put them over the top that way, that yes, I do think that you would use Mike Conley's deal to help facilitate that. One sort of offshoot consideration that you have to bring in that situation is if you are trading for someone, whoever, that is a guy making 15, $18 million a year, and you use Conley and Dillingham to do it. The presumption is going to be that you bring in that guy, that he's going to be a real part of the rotation and play 25 minutes a night. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, are those minutes really available? Because Conley he's playing some minutes. Dillingham's not playing at all. And so like, would it make sense to invest in a bigger piece if you think that he's not going to be playing quite as much? And it's a sort of similar to when they brought in Monte Morris a couple years ago, and he was not a marquee addition by any means, but he was a point guard that they could have used. That was a veteran guy that they thought, hey, yeah, he's going to get some real time here to help us. And he didn't play at all. Like, he was never in the rotation. And so, that's the one thing that you look at as well, is like realistically, how much is available, how much opportunity is available for a guy that you bring in. And so if you would trade Conley, if you think the guy that we're targeting is someone that is going to come in and play 25 minutes for us and play in big moments of playoff games and things like that, then you'd pull that trigger. But if you have question marks about that, then it's probably best to just keep Conley and go find someone who, might be in that 15-minute range to just help you out and see if that's the case. So that's the question that they have to answer there. What was the other option?
Just Tim Connolly. Would Tim Connolly give up on somebody that he traded up to get in the draft?
So yeah, I think that Tim Connolly still really believes in Rob Dillingham and thinks that that he can be a good player in this league. But I also think that Tim Connolly is a guy who looks at the current circumstances of any team, and he could, if he determines like, look, I like Rob Dillingham and I think he's going, but it's not going to be here. I don't think he would force Dillingham to stay here and just kind of rot on the bench. So if he really comes to that conclusion that just this particular situation is not a good one for Rob Dillingham and not a good one for the Wolves, that I don't think that he will cling to Rob Dillingham because he's worried about the optics of what he gave up to get Rob Dillingham and that not working out and him just desperately trying to salvage it. So that's just there are definitely GMs out there who will not, who would cling to. I think of when the Wolves back in the day held on to Adrian Payne for a lot longer than they should have because they gave up a first round pick for him. And really the writing was on the wall right away that this was just not going to work. and they just kept him on the roster and kept him on the roster. I don't think that Tim Connolly is that kind. I think if he recognizes that it just isn't working out, he'll pull the trigger on something to try and make something happen. A, to put Rob Dillingham in a better spot, and B, to give them a chance to have another piece that they can use for a team that they do really believe right now can beat anybody in the West in the playoffs.
Yeah. Let's get to our sglambchops.com Twitter question of the week.
All right, let me find it here. It was a good question. Yes, so this one from Daniel Stein. Can the fix for lack of wing guard playmaking come from within by emphasizing Jaden and Nas creation in lineups without Ant and or Julius? And I think it's a great point, or an option that Daniel brings up, that we have seen Jaden McDaniels take a big step forward from an offensive creation standpoint. But one of the frustrating things is that he has a tendency to disappear within the offense as well. And most of that, I think, is more of like, well, Ant and Julius have the ball in their hands a lot, and they're the main facilitators, and then Jaden kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. And so I really do believe that empowering Jaden McDaniels more down the stretch of this second half of the season should be a big priority for them, because it does give them another dimension. I do think that Jaden is more capable. It has more to show, even than he has already showed at the start of this season. And I think that he can absolutely be an asset from a shot creation, off the dribble standpoint, because he's big, he's taller than most guys, so he can raise up and get looks. And usually he's got a poor defender on him much of the time, because the best defenders on the other team are guarding Julius and Ant. And so I really do believe that Chris Finch needs to continue to lean into Jaden McDaniels more as an offensive facilitator, generator. And that would, to Daniel's question, help them quite a bit in terms of looking for that shot manufacturing that really, Ant is supremely good at, and Julius is pretty good at. So I hope that they do that going forward, that, they just, hey, we have this 6'11" guy who looks super confident going to the basket. Let's put him in more situations where he can be aggressive and look for his own offense. And then he's also shown that he can pass it pretty well too. So Jaden is definitely a skeleton key for some of their offensive stagnancy that we've seen in certain instances over the past couple of weeks.
Good question. Also, good show. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Please check out the Viking Update show as well. Again, check out talknorth.com. We have all the sports covered with the best people. We also have outdoor content, and we appreciate you listening. And in this case, watching. This show is available on YouTube as well, if you weren't aware. So thanks to John. Thanks to our listeners. Thanks to all of our sponsors, our producers, everybody who makes all of this possible. We will talk to you next week.